Those people in North Carolina, those are incredible people. Those are incredible patriots.
You want freedom, take pride in your country.
Had a fling with Stormy Daniels.
And paid her $130,000.
Hush money, yes.
And you're voting for him.
I am.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
Quite a few people are under the impression that President Trump had an affair with Stormy Daniels and paid her $130,000 to remain silent about it. MAGA supporters are aware of this, but they continue to support him in the election. Sure am, one fan of the MAGA announced. Even though my dad cheated, I still think he's great. On the show hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, they brought attention to the fact that Trump's fans were ignoring the situation. They were criticized by Kimmel for their illogical reasoning and their unwavering allegiance to Trump. As part of a piece titled Debate and Switch, they questioned supporters of Donald Trump about the negative things they believed Joe Biden had done. What's the catch? Trump is the one who was responsible for carrying out such actions. It's a classic twist. What were your thoughts when Joe Biden suggested that COVID could be cured by shining a bright light inside the body? As an illustration, Kimmel was asked to the organization that he collaborates with. The following is a statement made by individuals who consider themselves to be members of the MAGA party. It is very sad that Joe Biden is clearly a dementia patient. However, when it became apparent that Trump was the one who had conceived up the ridiculous idea of bleach and light, the reaction that was given was, it depends what that technology is. That was the response that was given to the question. Because, as you are aware, there are instruments that are capable of doing computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, and infrared imaging. This encompasses a wide variety of alternatives.
It is very sad that Joe Biden is clearly a dementia patient.
If he says it, then I'll go with it. And if he wants to be a dictator, then so be it.
It depends what that technology is. That's a broad spectrum because, you have MRI machines and CT machines. And
Kimmel did not hold back when he condemned the evident double-dealing and mental acrobatics that are characteristic of Trump's followers. These individuals are notorious for manipulating any facts in order to fit their story. Above and above these two criteria, Kimmel's criticism went farther. The question, what do you think about Joe Biden saying that getting through the 1980s without getting HIV was his own personal Vietnam, was one of the other questions that were asked. It was stated by members of the MAGA party that, again, it's very sad. As far as his educational background is concerned, the argument that he possesses a mental ability is extremely inadequate. The individuals went back to their initial point of view and asked, dementia patient? Certainly, I do not believe that to be credible. It was after they discovered that Trump was the one who had actually made the absurd comparison that they got to this conclusion. Kimmel highlighted their hypocritical viewpoint by pointing out how silly it is that they refuse to accept Trump's folly, while at the same time criticizing others for making the same mistakes because they are hypocrites. Aside from that, Kimmel's crew inquired with Secretary of State Biden about the possibility of utilizing bone spurs as a means of evading the draft in Vietnam. On the subject of the statements made by members of the MAGA party, Joe Biden has a problem. There is no doubt that he is not an American.
We have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah. Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars?
It is a dangerous world out there. It's scary. It's like Vietnam, sort of like, the Vietnam era.
It is your personal Vietnam, isn't it?
It is my personal
It is. You've said that many
I feel
times.
like a great and very brave soldier.
What brings y'all here today?
See Donald Trump himself.
Donald Trump!
Trump, baby. Trump.
Yeah, let's get a good look at the sweatshirt.
The primary reason for this is that he does not have any patriotism. In a humorous response, the defense team exclaimed, "Oh, Trump," after discovering that it was he who had evaded the selection process. My brother-in-law was a person who had flat feet, taking into consideration the material presented above. Kimmel drew attention to the fact that Trump's supporters are continuously rationalizing his actions by highlighting the disturbing level of ignorance and considerable absence of critical thinking that exists among Trump's supporters. When Stormy Daniels and the hush money payment of $130,000 were made public, the level of hypocrisy reached an all-time high. A sizable number of the people who support the MAGA movement were willing to hold Biden accountable for an affair that cannot be proven to be true. The following are the opinions that followers of the MAGA movement have expressed. My understanding is not quite clear, sir. That is an incredible feat that he was able to accomplish. They adjusted their attitude and stated that extramarital affairs should not be a huge concern because their own father had affairs. This was due to the fact that their father had affairs. They made this declaration because they were aware that Trump was the one who was involved.
Joe Biden has a problem. He isn't an American. He isn't a patriot.
One or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why?
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. When I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into it.
So I never liked him as much after that because I don't like losers.
But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured.
Trump's ability to execute mind-boggling mental feats and his propensity to defend any of his sins, regardless of how ethically questionable they may be, were both topics that Kimmel discussed in his remarks. Trump's supporters continue to believe his lies about his refusal to surrender or turn himself in, despite the fact that his mugshots, which were taken after his arrests, provide evidence that cannot be disputed. One of the many claims that supporters of the Millennial Generation Alliance, MAGA, have made is that they have never surrendered to the tyranny. The irrational defense of Trump's behavior was brought to light by Kimmel, who also brought attention to the dangerous cult-like attitude that permeates Trump's fan base.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light that so proudly we sing?
And needless to say, the way he has treated and mocked disabled people is just one more example of the many affronts to just basic decency.
Then you look at January 6th. It was a rigged election, and we're looking at it, and almost everybody in this room agree it was a rigged election.
Kimmel was the one who brought this to the attention of the audience. Even though it is very clear that Trump is a criminal and has moral problems, they continue to support him without question. In spite of the fact that they are in favor of the cause, they are also neglecting the realities of the situation and misrepresenting the facts. The fact that promoting or voting for Trump is equivalent to embracing this possibly destructive cult of personality was made plainly clear by Kimmel. These followers were reprimanded by Kimmel, who also made it abundantly clear that this is the current state of affairs. He advised them not to accept the propaganda and to be mindful of the severe consequences that would result from supporting a leader who consistently lies, deceives his people, and avoids responsibility. He also warned them not to trust the propaganda. In addition to that, he discouraged them against placing their faith in the false information. Kimmel makes a compelling argument for why supporting Trump is not only a political decision, but also a moral failure. He does this by revealing the hypocrisy and dangerous loyalty of those who support Trump. It is Kimmel's contention that supporting Trump constitutes a violation of morality.
I'm sure you cannot go into a military zone, a Vietnam zone, or any of the other zones with bad feet.
I'd rather have Donald Trump as a dictator for 4 years. Absolutely.
This country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
So thank you very much. Everything that I've heard and read, even from legal scholars, said there's absolutely no case here. It's not a crime. This is not a crime.
See if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth.
By acting in this manner, he was able to explain why it is a morally reprehensible choice to demonstrate support for Trump. Now is the time to say goodbye to this cult-like following and cast your vote for leaders that put the welfare of the nation, the truth, and integrity at the forefront of their priorities. The time to cast your vote is now.